Hi friends, welcome back. Today we are discussing on the micromeritics chapter coming under 4th semester B.Pharm Physical Pharmaceutics subject. Now we are just going through the most important topic in this chapter. Let's start the journey. First question is about short essay. So have to write about first question. What are the methods to determine the particle size? And they are asking write about any two methods to determine particle size. Okay, so for this question you are supposed to write first of all what are the available method to estimate the particle size, like optical microscopy, sieving method, sedimentation method, conductivity method, etc. And you can specify any two method for that, and we can come in detail with this method. Second question, they are also asking about, with the help of a neat diagram, explain the Andreessen pipette method to determine the particle size. Next question, with the help of neat diagram, explain the principle and working of counter method to determine the particle size. So this three question you are getting from the same topic, particle size distribution. Okay, so we can discuss about the different method for determining the particle size one by one. So four methods are available to determine the particle size. First one is optical microscopy, second method sieving method, third sedimentation method, and fourth conductivity method. Okay, so the first diagram, this one shows what optical microscopy. So whatever is the method, first point you have to specify in what size range we are using each method. Okay, so first one, regarding optical microscopy, we are using this optical microscopy for the particle having a size range of 0.2 to 100 micrometer. In that measure or in that size range we are using optical microscopy, and here the size range is measured in terms of projected diameter, okay, dp, and this will give directly the number distribution. And this optical microscopy we are using to determine the particle size analysis in suspension, globule size distribution in emulsion, as well as particle size analysis in aerosol. For that method, first we have to fit our eyepiece with a micrometer, and we are calibrating the eyepiece micrometer using a standard stage micrometer, and in that we are taking our powder sample in the form of a suspension, and we are finding out the particle size. Around 625 particles we need to count in order to get or estimate the true mean. So we have to consider the diameter, and if we want to count so much method, it is a very tedious method. So going to the advantages, that is under each method you have to specify the advantages also. So this method will help the observer to view the particle. The observer can view the agglomeration, as well as we can use a cover slip to avoid the motion of the particle, and it is an easy and simple method. Going to the disadvantages, here we only get diameter which is obtained from only two dimensions, and this is a slow and tedious method, and for this determination we need large sample requirement. Second method is sieving method. Sieving method having a particle size range between 50 and 1500 micrometer. In this method we are expressing the size in the range of d sieve, and we are using this as an application in the development of tablet and capsule. For this, what we are doing is that we are arranging our sieves like this. Okay, sieve method, we are using the sieves which are made up of square meshes, wire of brass, bronze, stainless steel, etc. and we are using the standard sieves, and the sieves are arranged in the order that is closest in the top, and we are placing a powder and we are getting the powder in the downside portion, and we are calculating the size. Comparing to the other method, this method is inexpensive, simple and rapid. But the disadvantages is that the lower limit of this method is 50 micrometer, and if you are using a not a dry sample, there may be chance to clog, and during agitation or during shaking there may be chances of attrition, so that may lead to errors in the estimation. So these are the disadvantages of sieving method. Third method is known as sedimentation method, and we are using the size range of 1 to 200 micrometer, and here we are measuring what? The stalk's diameter. And this sedimentation method, we can find out the application in the formulation and evaluation of suspension, emulsion to determine the molecular weight, etc. We are using our sedimentation method, and the main basic principle is Stokes diameter. That is, using the Stokes law, we are determining the Stokes diameter. So you have to write about the Stokes equation here, and you have to determine all the terms also. So in this method we are using the Andreessen apparatus like this, and so we have to explain what our Andreessen pipette. That is, it usually consists of what? 550 ml cylindrical vessel containing a 10 ml pipette sealed to a stopper, and first we are supposed to prepare 1 or 2% suspension in a suitable medium, and we are adding deflocculating agent to get the uniform dispersion. And after that we place the stopper, shake the vessel, and after that we are supposed to remove the stopper, and after that we are keeping in a constant temperature water bath. So at different time interval we are withdrawing 10 ml sample using this toothpaste stock and collected in our batch glass, and the sample are evaporated and weighed, and the weight or amount of particle we are referring as weight under size, and this weight we are converting into the cumulative weight under size. This is the procedure what we are doing in case of Andreessen apparatus. Fourth method is conductivity method, and in this conductivity method we are using the Coulter counter apparatus. So under each method we have to know what are the main things we have to include. In the conductivity method we are performing for the particle having a size range from zero point 0.5 to 500 micrometer, and this method will give number distribution, and we are measuring the particle volume. So this method find application to find out the particle growth in suspension and solution, to find out the dissolution as well as effect of antibacterial agents. So while telling about the principle of this Coulter counter method, first we have to suspend our particle in a conducting electrolyte. For example, we can use sodium chloride, and this dispersion we have to fill in our sample cell. So in our sample cell we are supposed to fill the sodium chloride, and it has an orifice. So in that orifice, which will help to maintain a contact with the external medium, and we are placing the electrodes in the solution, and we are applying a constant voltage across the two electrodes. So what happened? The current passes and the suspended particle travel through the orifice. Finally, we can find out a change in electrical resistance, and the change in electrical resistance we are terming as voltage pulse, and it relates to the particle volume. Finally, this voltage pulse we are amplifying, and fed into the pulse height analyzer or amplifier, and we are determining the particle size. By using this apparatus, we can find out the 4000 particle size per second, and we can find out the size distribution analysis, and we are getting an accurate result by this method. So these are the advantages. While telling about the disadvantages, we have to mention that this method is unsuitable for polar and highly water soluble material. So these are the main point you have to write if you are asking a essay about particle size determination, and we have to study any two method in specific. Sometimes they are asking like Andreessen pipette, particle counter, sedimentation, like that. So this is a very important portion from this micromeritics chapter, so don't miss it. The next question is, what is specific surface area? Specific surface area means it is defined as the surface area per unit weight. Normally we are representing as capital S subscript W, or unit volume of the material. So how we can estimate the specific surface area, that is SW, by dividing the surface area divided by weight will produce the specific surface area, and it is equal to the surface area divided by weight, and you can uh, write as surface area by density into volume also. The second part is that how we can measure by air permeability method. So we know for determining this we can use the air permeability method. So in case of air permeability method, this method is a very simple method and we can get the value very easily. Normally we are using to estimate the surface diameter here ds, and we can find out the batch to batch variation by this air permeability method. So first of all, we are supposed to pack the powder in a sample holder as a compact plug, and in that plug we are adding the surface contact. So what happened? The surface of the capillaries will function as a surface area of the powder, and in between this air will allow to pass. So this air will travel through the capillaries, and we can find out the surface area of powder. That is the principle behind air permeability method. So when air is allowed to pass through the powder bed at a constant temperature, the powder bed will resist the flow of air, and that result in a pressure drop. So if greater the surface area per gram of the powder, we can see a greater resistance to flow. And normally we are using the Kossiny-Kármán equation to estimate the surface area of the powder. If possible, you can write that equation also to improve your marks. And this we are using many methods for determining the surface area. Officially, we are using the Fisher subsieve sizer to find out the surface area. So in that, what we are doing is that actually the Fisher subsieve sizer will consist of a sample tube containing the powder sample with one end connected to an air pump through a constant pressure regulator. Okay, it have one end with the connection to the air pump, and other end attaching to a calibrated manometer. So as the air passes through the dryer, or when air is allowed to flow through the packed powder, we can find out the flow of air with the help of manometer, and the level of the fluid in the manometer will give the average diameter of the particle. So this is a method for determining or estimating surface area. Next question is about what are the derived properties of powder. So in that you can write about many things. So first you have to specify what are derived properties of powder. So when you are asking about derived property, you have to specify about, that is, first we are getting the fundamental particle. So fundamental properties are size, diameter, etc. So derived property we are getting with the use of fundamental property. So that's why our derived properties are important in the pharmacy. Many other you can write about the porosity, bulk density, flow property, etc. In this question they are asking about any two. So you can write the true density or you can write about the flow properties also, no problem. So in the next question is about define the angle of free powers, explain the method to determine the same. So next question, explain porosity gives application in pharmacy. So anyway, when you analyze the question, the density part, porosity part and angle of free powers are very important. So we can discuss one by one. So you can write the porosity, bulk density and flow property under this derived property. First have a look on the true density. So it is a derived property of powder. So true density means weight of the powder divided by true volume of powder, and two methods are there for determining the true density. One is the gas displacement method and liquid displacement method. So any method you can specify. First, the last question in this slide is list different type of density. So for that you can utilize this. So you can write about the helium displacement method or you can write about the liquid displacement method. Normally we are doing this in the practical, so this question part will be easy to attempt. So you can use this. So that is the first one, true density. Then another density term is granule density. Granule density means granule weight by granule volume, and we can determine the volume of the granules with the help of mercury displacement method, because we are using the mercury in this method because the mercury is suitable because it can fill the voids but fail to penetrate the internal core of the particle. And the mercury is based on its high contact angle of about 140 degree. It is having non-wetting property. Then next method or density is bulk density. That is, bulk density is equal to, we know, rho is equal to mass by bulk volume. For that we know we can use the bulk density apparatus, or we can take a particular amount of powder through a standard sieve, and weighed amount we can fill in a 100 ml graduated cylinder, and with the help of a bulk density apparatus you can fix, and we can find out the time, and we can find out the final volume as the bulk volume from this. So bulk volume also measured by dropping the cylinder also. Instead of this bulk density apparatus we can tap on a hard wooden surface 3 times from a height of 1 inch. We can do that methods also, and we are supposed to drop or tap for 500 times. And in this bulk density we are checking actually the uniformity of our bulk chemicals. These are the various types of density. You can mention anything relating to the density as a derived powder, and we are getting another question from different type of density. Then next derived property is porosity. Porosity is also important to find out relationship between in terms of volume. So porosity is frequently expressed in percentage. Porosity or voids epsilon is equal to void volume by bulk volume. And in this, first we have to write about the what is porosity. You have to write about this equation, that is porosity epsilon is equal to 1 minus Vp by Vb, that is void volume by bulk volume into 100. And in case of density also we can express, so the equation become epsilon percentage is equal to rho P minus rho B by rho P into 100, and this equation is only valid for the porous solid. So the porosity, we can find the application immensely in the tablet, and this porosity influences the rate of disintegration and dissolution. So if higher the porosity, faster the rate of dissolution. That is the concept. So in that you can write about the packaging arrangement also. Next parameter is coming under the flow property, that is we can write about the angle of repose. So normally flow characteristic we are measured by the help of angle of repose, that is the maximum angle possible between the surface of a pile of powder and horizontal line, that is theta is equal to tan inverse h by r, where we have to write each term, where theta is the angle of repose, h is the height of the pile, and r is the radius of the pile, and you have to write about the procedure for finding out the angle of repose by fixed height method or fixed funnel method. These are the main points you have to include in this. Next question is about Stokes law. So this is the equation, that is dst is equal to 18 eta s divided by rho s minus rho into fg into t. So in according to different text it is varying, but we have to know that the rate of settling or sedimentation method principle is our Stokes law. So we can tell that the rate of settling of the particle in a suspension or emulsion we can obtain by the Stokes law. So we get dst is equal to square root of 18 eta 0 h by rho s minus rho 0 into gt, where h is the distance of fall in time, eta 0 is the viscosity of the medium, and rho s is the density of the particle, and rho 0 is the density of the dispersion medium, and g is the acceleration due to gravity. Normally this Stokes law is applicable for the spheres, and for that the particular concentration will be there, so we have to specify that. Next question is about what is Pauli disperse system. So we have to write about the Pauli disperse system. So we have to get an idea about this Pauli disperse system, that is under powder size. Pauli disperse means, we know most of the pharmaceutical powders are Pauli disperse, that means that contain the particles of different size. But for determining the Pauli disperse system, there is no universal way of defining size of a powder. But we have to assign the powder with a characteristic value. So many attempts are going down to describe the powder by arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. Next question is about what are equivalent diameters. So equivalent diameter means the diameter of a spherical particle which will give an identical geometrical, optical, electrical or aerodynamic criteria to that of non-spherical particle. Some refers this equivalent diameter as of Stokes diameter of the particle in case of non-turbulent flow. So here you can see different type diameter, you have to specify all, and you can find out different diameters also. So we have to specify what is Martin diameter, what is Farad diameter, and projected diameter, because we are getting number of questions from this part also. So we have to know what it is. So first one is about the Martin diameter. So diameter, we know it is relating to our powder size. So before that we have seen different one, arithmetic mean, volume size, like that. Next we are going to study about the Martin diameter, Farad diameter, and projected diameter. So in case of Martin diameter, you have to consider a spherical particle. So here we are considering the length of the line that bisect the particle image, that is the Martin diameter, and In case of projected area diameter, we are taking the diameter of the circle with the same area as that of a spherical particle. Whereas in case of Faraday diameter, we are considering the distance between two tangents on opposite side of the particle parallel to some fixed diameter. So you can see this portion under your eyepiece or optical microscopy. Then we may get some more question from the particle size distribution also. So you have to specify that part also for studying. So in case of particle size distribution, so we know we have to study the particle size as well as particle size distribution. So in powders, for defining size distribution, that is the number of particles present in each size range in a given weight of powder, because we know the powders are polydispersed. Such a case, we have to know about this particle size distribution. So various methods are there to determine the distribution curve, like frequency distribution curve we can use as a, it is under normal distribution curve. You have to specify that log normal distribution curve. We can use the cumulative frequency distribution curve. We can use log probability plot like that. We have to know how to construct probability curve. So you have to specify, or you have to stress on this particle size distribution area to score good marks from this area. Next one, what the fundamental property, we have already seen that the particle size, shape, etc. will come under the fundamental property. You can give the example like that. And derived properties are density, bulkiness, porosity, etc. Then next question is about the bulk density, true density, like that we already seen. So next one, define angle of repose. See, we already discussed what is angle of repose under the fundamental properties. So in this question, they are also asking to write about the significance of angle of repose also. So we are using this angle of repose for what? To determining the good powder, because this powders we are using in the preparation of tablet like that. So if the powder is having the value of less than 25, it is showing a excellent flow. So based on this we are using. Next question is about what is void volume and porosity. We have already discussed what is void volume and porosity. Once again, you have to give importance for the definition part. Then next question is about what is granule density. We have already seen that is for the granules is equal to granule volume by granule weight by granule volume is granular density. True density we already discussed. True density means what? Weight of powder by true volume of powder, and the true density depend on the type of atoms in the molecule as well as the arrangement of the molecule. Next question is about what is compressibility index, and next question, what is rate of flow of powder, and explain Carr's index. All are focusing on the Carr's consolidating index, what we are studying under the flow properties. That is tap density minus fluff density by tap density into 100, and we have to write this. And the compressibility index or consolidation index can be used as a measure to find out the potential strength, and we know how we are determining this Carr's compressibility index. Next question, give packaging arrangement of powders. So under the porosity we have seen that different packaging arrangements are there. We can arrange the particles in a closed packing. So at that time porosity is epsilon is equal to 26%. If you are arranging in a lossless packing, it increased to 48%. Normally the pharmaceutical powders are arranged very closely, so at that time the porosity is less than 30%. So you can write this point with the help of a diagram. It will give more marks. Next question, define the volume surface mean diameter. Give the equation for its calculation. So in the initial time we have seen different diameter, different structures like that. So here they are asking to write about the volume surface diameter. So we have to study the equation for determining the volume surface diameter. Next question about define shape factor and what is its importance in kinetics. So in shape factor, that is, they are asking indirectly about the shape factor means under the particle shape you may come across this word shape factor. So shape factor can be expressed as a ratio of surface to volume factor. So shape factor is equal to alpha S divided by alpha V. Normally the minimum possible value for the shape factor is 6 and it represents a spherical shape. And if this ratio, that is the shape factor ratio, exceeds this factor 6, we can tell that that particle size is relating to an asymmetric particle. So these are relating to the particle shape. So we had to study what is shape factor, what is the thing. Next, list 4 methods to improve the flow properties. To improve the flow property, how we can improve the flow property, that is the next question. So we already studied this flow property under angle of repose. Many methods are there. Commercially, we can improve the flow property by processing our powder into granules of spherical shape, or we can choose an optimal size of the granule, maybe around 400 to 800 micrometer, or we can incorporate optimal amount of fines, about 15%. This will also improve the flow property. And fourth method is that we can incorporate optimum concentration of lubricants such as magnesium stearate, talc, etc. Finally, this the ways to characterize a powder. So we know what are the powder characteristic. We already studied the powder characteristic. So we can specify that what are the different ways. So by this we are winding up this. I hope the session will be helpful for you. If you find helpful, please share your friends also. Thank you.